basically from a small city or very prominent city, I must say, from Allahabad. And recently it is renamed as Prayagraj in Uttar Pradesh. I born and brought up there, and my journey started from this place. All schooling, graduation, even the master's education, MSc, I did from Allahabad University, and in fact graduation I did from Even Christian College, which was earlier associated with the Allahabad University, and now it's an autonomous. Particularly this the Even Christian College, it has made a big difference to my life, because I was not very comfortable with the plant system, because we were taught in Hindi, even the scientific terminology, was finding it very difficult to pronounce. And when it came to the graduation is in English, all science, the teachers were very good, particularly the botany teachers, because in graduation I took biology, zoology, botany, and the third subject was chemistry. So botany, the teachers, the way they taught, they gave the attention to the students, that really made me to feel very comfortable with the botany. Then I pursued with the Allahabad University MSc, because Allahabad is known for academics. And then whatever comes my way, I just move ahead. That time I was not very clear where to go, what I have to do, but definitely I wanted to study, receive education. I must say, one person who has played a very important role, definitely both the parents were very sound and very strict in their own portfolio. My mother was housewife, but my father was the big source of inspiration for education. Even his mother herself was educated, my grandmother. And probably that gene has come from my grandmother to the father, and then we all siblings. My father somehow, that time he was the double MA in Hindi and history, and he was the one who taught everyone in my family. Most of the time he was on the touring job, because he was an audit officer in a CAG office. So whenever he comes back to home, it's like a curfew type of situation at home, because everyone its books are open and is studying, and he teaches us the mathematics and English. So he was very, very strict, and he want all the time to all of us to concentrate more on the education rather than playing or the sports. To be very frank, that time I found that my father was very strict, and we are not enjoying the personal life. But at this point of time, when I have achieved something, or I can say I have got the clarity on my path, at this point I feel that my father has contributed a lot. In fact, he himself has also sacrificed a lot, because he was giving time to us. Nowadays I'm seeing the parents are not finding time for the child, but he was giving excess time. He gave the clarity on the English grammar, as well as the mathematics, Hindi grammar, and the history. And he is really a big source of inspiration for education. In fact, he wanted all of us to be independent, even my brothers, sisters. He never differentiated. Although once there was I remember one incident. My youngest brother, who is just 3 years elder to me, and he is a little naughty. He was concentrating less on the education. So my father, most of the energy goes on concentrating him, and they were concerned all the time. The conversation happens, okay, what could be the professional degree he could go. So I used to hear this conversation, and I was in master's, MSc. And one day I got very annoyed, because that thinking goes on almost a month. Then one day, early morning, because when I was in 12th, my father retired from the job. So he was, most of the time he was on the gardening, and 6 o'clock he wakes up. And I knew that he wakes up at 6 o'clock, and I used to study midnight and wakes up early. because my father doesn't like people sleeping late. And the first day, I just encountered him, and he was very strict. No one can argue and no one can counteract him. And I upfront and went in front of him, and I said, because I'm a girl and nobody is bothered about my education, nobody is talking about me, where I have to go, and I'm keep on studying from graduation to MSc. Even I want to do, and you are all the time, everyone is talking about my brother. And my father did not say even a single word. And he had some bucket in hand and mug to for the giving water to the plants, and he went back. And he kept the bucket, he did not react, and he did not say anything. I did not know what is his decision and what else. And whatever I thought, and I just said it in front of him. I knew that repercussion will be very, very tough because he will get angry, but it's okay. Then what I realized that I started doing the MSc. Somehow I was into this track because I don't want to sit at home, because I was in a fear that if I sit at home, people find me is free and they will make me get married with someone. And which I don't want to see, because I've seen the women who are married, they have to take care of only the household job, and which is very, very frustrating. And always I thought that I will be independent financially, and that will give me the self-respect at least. And no one can speak to me in a harsh language, or no one can bother, because my father was very strict. And I thought because he's financially independent, so that's the reason that my mother is a little. When my father goes on audit, then mother becomes is a full control of the mother. But when father is there, mother is not, is a little submissive. So I thought my father is dominating because he has a financial independence. And I want to be financially independent so that no one can control me. And I have my wish, whatever I want to achieve. And that was the only inclination, and I was inclined towards the study. I was not taking a break in the study. Usually some of my friends who took a break for civil services preparation, because I'm from the east belt of UP, and which is adjoining with the Bihar state as well. And both this region have a very strong inclination towards the civil services. And my father was also wanted someone to be the civil servant. He himself was ambitious to it, and somehow because of the family responsibility, in between he got a CAG job, and he got into this job because he has to take care of the entire family. It's a big family. But what happens that because of this, all the time going to the classes, my university was very far off around, I used to cycle a lot, 15 kilometer one way. And it's a 30 kilometer per day I was cycling from graduation onwards. I was not getting much time for civil services, and there was no clarity that time if I get the option for the coaching or who will bear the expenses, because my father was retired. He was just earning 5,000 pension, but definitely his support was that he will give us, he has all the time the money for the books, but never for the good clothing. And he can spend as much as on the books. So that security was there, that if I ask for some books, he will definitely give. But the clarity of my profession was not there. And I went to the MSc. Then I wanted to be a scientist, but not the professor at that time. Wanted to be a scientist, and my role model was that time Professor Dr. APJ Kalam. I thought I want to be like him. Then I saw one advertisement of the BARC, Mumbai, and I applied for it, and I qualified the written examination, but interview, I could not. Then the second attempt for the interview, I have to be either MPhil, I have to complete. And then I was looking for my MPhil. Finally, I got to know that in Delhi University, luckily the semester is little delayed, and I could get an opportunity to join Delhi University for MPhil so that I can reappear for the BARC second attempt. And I got through in MPhil in Delhi University, but unfortunately, by the time I completed MPhil 1 year, I was overage for the BARC. And that time also people were advising me as in the laboratory that if you are inclined towards the PhD, you should find out the theme in a way that you can continue for your PhD program. But I said, no, I will not go for the professor because you will get a gray hair and still you have to, I mean, all the time in studies. I will not go. Then I joined, completed the MPhil. My professor, he was very, very humble to us because he was treating us like a child away from home. Then he retired, and then he introduced me to another very renowned professor, Professor S.S. Bhojwani, whom I'm inspiring. I'm a big fan the way he was working. He took me to his project. That time also, I joined the project, but I was not very sure that I will go for the PhD. His PhD is like an accidental decision for me, and the circumstances has come in a way. And finally, when I started getting the result in the project, it was experimental on the plant system. And my professor, Professor S.S. Bhojwani, said, you must register for the PhD. And then I registered for the PhD. Only one thing in my journey, I found that although I was not very calculative, what I have to do, where I have to go, but whatever has come, I give my 100% to it. And options were less because my parents were very strict. If I leave the work in the middle, come back home, that place was not for me then, because my father would have been very angry. And in the lab, I was watching my professor himself was working late night, fully dedicated. So these are, I can say that I found a very strict teacher, which is needed if I really want to do good in life. And the first teacher is a parent. So teacher and the parent, the first is the parent and then the teacher. These two people, if we are the very lucky people. Because as a child, as a student, most of the paths are not clear. And those days, that was very, very limited for anyone, not only for the girls, even for the boys as well. And connectivity was poor because we don't have even having the phone at home is a luxury. Now we have 2 or 3 mobile phones in hand. So that's the edge. So I completed my PhD with good, it's a good result. My professor was very happy, although he appreciates in a very limited way, but he was appreciated, so I think. Actually, I did my MSc from Allahabad University, which was known for classical botany. And while Delhi University, when I moved, it was known for the advanced botany, that means all technology. So that benefited me because it's like when you want to repair a vehicle, if you know the entire mechanics of the vehicle, you know where I have to switch the part. The same here, when the Allahabad University has made me clear the entire functioning of the plant system. And when I joined this lab, Professor Bhojwani's lab, he was working on the embryology, experimental embryology. I worked on the tree species, is a neem indigenous as a director indica, which is our own plant, where the target was, because working on the tree species itself is a challenge. The reason is the trees in nature, you might have seen, they grow very slow. Even if you plant a mango tree, it will take 4 to 5 years to come to the fruiting. But when you grow a grasses, they grow in a week's time. PhD tenure is a time bound 4 to 5 years. One is to finish. Standard time is 4 years. Working on tree species, that means I have to work very strategically and day night. Because 4 years we have to finish, and we have to start the experiment in a way that every day we should have some the information ready so that I can implement another experiment to come to the conclusion and then finish the goal objective. So here I was working on developing the pure breed lines using from the flowers, using the pollen grain, the male gametophyte, and then the female gamete. This expertise was with Professor Bhojwani was very strong into it. So that expertise is available, but not in the plant system. Where in 3 years' time, I got the haploids that was to be utilized for double haploid production, pure breed lines. Because when the conventional breeding, always the farmers look for pure breed lines. That means 2 pure parents, and so that the hybrids can get the exact hybrids of 50-50 parental characters be there. It's like when we want a pink color, we should have the pure red color, and then the pure white color will get the real pink color. So breeders also follow the 2 pure characters parents and then the hybrids. Naturally, this system is not available with the neem because it's a cross-pollinating. The kind of pollen decides this unknown pollen, fertilize and produce the seeds. The quality of the seed fertilization depends on the quality. Quality of the seeds depend on the quality of the pollen. A simple example is, suppose if you are plucking the mango from the same tree, you find the taste is different of all mango. The reason is because quality of the pollen deciding the setting of the fruits, the seeds. So the same problem was there in the trees. All the trees have the same problem. So I work on this to develop the varietal improvement of the parent plant, where the conventional methods have limitations. Only the technology can provide the answer. I worked on that, and currently also I'm working on the neem, where I really got the double haploid production, pure breed lines, and they are performing very well in the field. I had a tie-up with one of the Gujarat-based company where I gave the counseling or consultancy so that this neem can be utilized for different, even for cosmetic purpose, because it has anti-cancerous compounds. It is used as a biodegradable biofertilizer. It's our own indigenous plant, and then everybody knows. You name them, you put together 1,000 medicinal plants on one side and neem on the other side, have all. Sometimes people think that why people have to work on the neem. Ideally speaking, this plant what is seen luxuriantly growing around, it doesn't grow in a cold climate and higher altitude. So what we see in the northern and southern part is because of the climate. It grows vigorously. So little science is available at that time. Now also very little is available because everyone is harvesting the compounds from it rather than improving the parent plant. So this is one aspect where I work on the challenging tree species. Other than I work on medicinal metabolite production using the cell biomass growth. It's like a cancerous cells, which we don't want in the plant, the animal system. But if it is there in the plant system, it is serving as an alternative for cell biomass for harvesting the medicinal metabolites. Naturally, the chemists, they collect the raw material from the field. In this process, there are the chances that most of the species go on extinct or disappear because constant utilization of those plant species, some of the species may be on the verge of extinction as well. Some plants are not available everywhere. So these are the natural restrictions or limitations, environmental limitations are there. So we developed the technology so that every year, throughout the year, you have the cell biomass ready to harvest the compound. And we also do the characterization and identification of medicinal metabolite compound and for checking on any bioassay activities like anti-cancerous, anti-malarial, or anti-diabetic compounds we identify and characterize them. And the third aspect we develop on the exactly identical plants. Suppose if we find this particular plant is very good and we need the clones of it, copies of the parent plant. So we take a part of the plant in a way which is only to generate the copies of the parent plant, n number of throughout the year, irrespective of whatever the situation outside, environmental or regional or geographical boundary, irrespective of it. So these are the three main strengths we have. Varietal improvement to create better plants than the parent. And second is to produce identical plants, which are the clones of the parent plant. And third is medicinal metabolite production and scaling up in the big reactors for commercial level production. The neem is the main plant. And second, when I came here, I started working on the tea as well, Camellia species of Assam, where also we got the pure breed lines. This is also very challenging and even tougher than the neem plant. And second thing is, it is not much explored, although scientifically. Otherwise, Assam tea is very well known for good flavor. But unfortunately, the popularity it has not received for multiple reasons. Sometimes most of the reasons are technical reasons. It's not that the information is not available. Information is also available partially. But definitely on tissue culture, there is no concrete information was available. So I worked upon, it took me around 14 years to get the pure breed lines of this from the pollen grain, the male gametophyte. And although it was a little struggle because I was new to this place and getting the material, that too, the tea is a very prestigious plant here. But it worked out with the help of Department of Biotechnology, New Delhi, who is a funding body. So they helped me to get connected with the right people, and I developed this tea. So I'm known for working on the tree species, that too on tea and the neem. Other than this, I work on Giloy. Giloy, everybody knows. The scientific name is Stenospora. It is known for anti-diabetic compound. So here the people, they chew the leaf. It grows naturally. It is a woody climber. So people chew the leaves, those who are the diabetic patient. But it is actually, other than the diabetic compound, anti-diabetic compound, it is an provide the immunity improvement. So you might have seen several formulations, even in the cure of the dengue, or when the COVID time, the Giloy got a lot of popularity. So we started working on this since 2011. The target was to get the anti-diabetic compound. We also work on stevia, which is known for sugar, glycosidic sugar, non-calorie sugar production. And it is quite very popular in the Western countries. Here we work on generating the clones of this particular plant, and we supply to the farmers when we tie up with another industry. Every week we were supplying some of the plants so that they can grow and process the leaves for non-calorie sugar production. Likewise, for banana also we work. Banana is known for virus in the fruits. So we also develop the clones of the banana of the northeastern region species. Bhimkol is one banana. It's a seeded banana. It's available only in the northeast. It has a lot of seeds. Although it is very, very nutritious and very proteinaceous, very rich in nutrients, but the popularity is led because the seeds are the obstructions. So here we got, although we got the project on getting the seedless fruits here, right now we have established the clones of these plants, large scale propagation of this, and then another is the Malbho, which is a seedless. So these are some of the commercial plants. I work on some more plants like Spilanthes, which has anti-malarial compound. Normally, these idea comes when I saw that here, because this zone is having this very rich in medicinal plants. But these plants, they grow only here because the climate is more favorable. So you will find there are a lot of naturopaths are there. Some of the doctors here, they are also, interested towards the naturopathy. So they approaches us that what is compound is available, why the people are using in the folk medicine, if you can test it. We do this testing as well. Currently, I'm working at IIT Guwahati. I'm professor here. It's in Assam. Guwahati is in Assam state of the Northeast region. I'm also heading the administrative position of the head of the Department of Biosciences Bioengineering. Actually, while coming here, other than the teaching and the research, I have been to the administration also around almost than 10 years. I have took an active part in handling the national examination of IITs, which is by the ministry. On behalf of the ministry, IITs conduct 7 older IITs, including Bombay. So I took a administrative part as well, in like chairperson of the GATE and the JAM examination. JAM is Joint Admission Test in Masters, and it's like a JEE exam. It's a admission test. For 3 years I was there. Then I acted as a Dean of Alumni and External Relations, where I took active participation in internationalization of the IIT. We signed numerous collaborations with foreign institutions, including Heidelberg, which is known for generating several Nobel laureates, around 25, 23 plus. We had a joint degree program with this in support of DBT. Then I'm also a visiting professor at Gifu University, Japan, where we had a joint degree program in food science and technology, in master's as well as PhD. So I'm coordinating the PhD program too. It was a long 5-year MOU we signed, but it was a long process because Japanese, they work as a foolproof system. So materializing this little took longer, but it was very, very popular here in the campus. Actually, Northeastern, entire Northeast is very rich in biodiversity, flora and fauna, both very rich. And most of the plants are still not yet explored because they are known by their local name, because there are several dialects are here. Even Assam have several dialects other than the Assamese. All 7 states plus the Sikkim as a 8, 7 plus 1. So mostly they are known with their local names. There are the botanists who are working on identifying. Sometimes they do also approach that if we can do some technology improvisation with this. We try our best, but we are also involved in several activities, as well as sometimes the space is also a concern to go for a big level. But I try my best to help, at least they train the manpower so that they can work at their home place as well. Yes, actually, my father must be a proud parent, but unfortunately, I did not give much to him because I'm the youngest sibling. We are 3 brothers and 3 sisters, including me. My parents and me, the age gap is around 40 years, even little higher, 40 to 42 years. Even my eldest brother and sister, they are 21 and 23 years elder to me. When they visit here, people think they are my parents. And my parents are actually the grandparents. My father never visited here because he was not well. Definitely, he said to me one thing when I finished my PhD, and it's actually PhD is also just because of him. We went through a difficult phase where I was almost giving up my PhD. The incidents happened. I was doing PhD here in Delhi University, and my brother was working in the Rajya Sabha Secretariat. That was the base for us. And my father was, and everyone was settled because we have a lot age difference. So I was the youngest one. And my father was alone, and he liked Allahabad a lot. He was living alone, and he visits Delhi. Then he went back because he likes Allahabad more, never the Delhi there, because he spent most of his time while in the office. Although his origin is from Western UP, the Agra side, near Agra. Although he was finding it a little difficult to adjust in Allahabad, but he liked Allahabad more than the Delhi, because East and West UP has a different culture. Eastern UP is little soft, where we speak like aap or hum. So finally, my father was all alone there. He visits Delhi, then he went back to clear all the dues. He was very, very punctual, but he got the stroke. brain hemorrhage, and he was all alone, but little practical too, because he keeps all the phone numbers near the telephone and used to converse a lot with the milkman, most of the conversation, and most of the time he he worship. The rest of the time he do the gardening, speaking to any philosophy with their friends, and say he's very practical. So when he got a brain hemorrhage at midnight, he was long time he was in the washroom, and only the milkman recognized that something goes wrong, because he always discussed with me. He hand over the keys whenever he moves to Delhi, and why he's not responding. Newspaper is lying outside and everything. Then my father, although he recovered, but the recovery rate was very slow. He was 3-4 months. He was continuously in the hospital, and food was taken through the rice tube. And I was doing a PhD, and I went back to Allahabad, and I was constantly be next to my father. And after a month, when he just got a conscious and he realized that I am next to him, he got very angry. He literally got very angry. Why you have come up here, leaving the other things? Just get out from here. And because that time I was not having any fellowship, and he was paying me from the pension, and I was staying in the hostel. 2,000 out of 5,000 pension, he used to pay me. And my hostel fee was 1,800, and 200 rupees I used to save. And that was a big saving, in fact, which I am finding a little difficult to save, but that time I was saving 200 rupees. And I always realized that this is for my pension is for my father's maintenance. And he was not well, and then he got angry because he wanted me to finish my PhD. And he said a sentence which really made me angry. He said, "Are you waiting for me to die? You just get out from here and finish PhD. Whatever will happen, happen to me. You don't have to wait for me." So because he never liked the sympathy, he himself was very hardworking. Then I got little angry. I came back to Delhi, and I poured my all anger on my work. And that was the result that I got in 4 years. People usually take longer time, but I got all the results in just 3 years working on the trees, which is working from 7 o'clock till 11 o'clock. My friends used to wait for me, and I said, "How you get this energy?" And I never go for the tea break, because I thought this is the pension money. My father has given it to me, and I should not spend for my own pleasure. So I used to save 200. And when I got the result and I finished my PhD, my father was very happy that I got a doctorate. But that's not the end. See, having the doctorate and getting the job, only we know that time situation was not too good, because people doesn't have a job even if doctorate. But I'm not in a position to say this fact to anyone in my family. This was pinching me, because for getting a job, you must have a good publications too. He said, "See, I have to do a clerical job, and you are free to publish your work." And I thought, without my professor, how I can publish? 1 week, I was like crying a lot, as if I'm not in a position to say my concern to anyone, because no one can understand other than me or my professor. Then one of my senior colleague gave me an idea. "Rakhi, your work is very good. Just divide your thesis into 4 parts and then communicate. I'm sure you will get the publication." And believe me, within 15 days, I really got a publication. It never happens. It usually takes 4 to 5 years. My work was so good. The reviewers also said, 3 reviewers, international reviewers, they said, "No, we are accepting your publications." And my professor actually liked it. Now I have it, and my father was then since I was doctorate, the proposal started coming for marriage. And my father, by the time he recovered from his paralysis, and he himself was writing the books. He wrote 3 books on Gita analysis when his left hand was not working, but with the right hand. And he was constantly doing the exercise so that he come back to the normal. People should not think that he got a paralysis or some reflections are there on the face. He worked like with the army physiotherapist, and he was working alone with the help of the servant. And in this process, he wrote a Gita book and told me that, "See, Rakhi, I have not spent my time and energy on you. to make you sit at home with a doctorate degree. I got the message and know that if I go for the marriage life, then this I don't want, because then I started saying in PhD that because I was about to get doctorate, I thought when I will become a taxpayer. Every time I used to say to my colleagues, I wanted to become a taxpayer. That means I should have a job, so I earn enough to pay the tax. And I realized, and then the positions released for the IIT Guwahati professor, assistant professor. None of my relatives are here in the Northeast. And in fact, believe me, I think most of the people were also doing the same thing. In a history, when I was reading the history or studying the history, I was used to recite the capitals of the Northeast states. It's very difficult to remember because we never visited the Northeast region. And someone told me, there's some vacancies here, Rakhi, you must apply. I thought, Northeast, no one is there. And someone has given me this position through the email. And I got a printout and kept in my file. And I said, no, I will not apply. And then I left for some family gathering, marriage was there, everyone left and I also went. Then I came back, and when I opened file, again this paper came, and it happens that 2-3 times this paper was coming in front of me. Then I thought, again and again this paper is coming to me, let me see how I can go. Then I got my reservation done in a Rajdhani, Delhi to Guwahati, and I did not speak to my mother. And I just told my father that I'm going for the interview there. Then my father said, he was very, straightforward, said, get out from here. Nikal jao yahan se. So when he said nikal jao, because he thought, see, my situation is like that. And he always says that all my siblings should stay separately. That time I was not, people's parents say you should be together. My father said you live separately. I said, I could not understand your teachings. You always say something very strange, which no one can understand. He said, see, when you live separately, you have affection with each other. And when you live together and when everyone has a family, there are the chances there may be a conflicts. So I want you should not be dependent on any of your siblings. You are my responsibility and you should go wherever you get a job. Till now, I have never stopped any of my child just for me. Wherever they have got the job, they have moved. You should also do the same. Then when I saw that my message is clear, then there are no emotions actually. I came here, and that too, there was no reservation, only one waiting list. I was just stuck there. So my brother came to drop me at the Rajdhani, and one of my hostel mate was a SME's friend. She said, Rakhi, you go, my brother will pick you up. Don't worry. I know you don't have anyone, but my brother will pick you up. You will stay at my home and he will drop you for the interview at IIT. I said, fine. And Rajdhani, my brother talked to the TT a lot, but there was no reservation. One waiting list. My brother said, Rakhi, just get entry into this officer's bogey. No one can throw you out, I'm sure. And one of the senior person was sitting here, and my brother introduced that she is going for an interview. Just if you can help. So I was sitting, and I was very innocent. That time, everyone was paying full fee for the train. Even if you are in the waiting, you have to pay full. There's no refund policy that time. So people were serving water bottle or something. I said, no, I have my waiting. So I was refusing. So that officer said, oh, you have paid entirely. Why don't you accept it? Somehow I reached here and gave the interview. Because that time the phases was that I was giving the interviews, but success were very few. I gave the interview here as well. And one of my niece, she was in Air Force, flying, my sister's daughter. She said, Rakhi, you are going there. You must visit Shillong Air Base. It's very good. So I gave the interview and thinking interview went very well actually. But I was not sure because everywhere, no, the panel version is final and there are several things are there other than your own knowledge. I went for the interview, then just stayed for a week and then came back Delhi without much hope, but I was confident that my interview went very well. When I came back and then I got email that you have been selected for the position. And then I revealed to my mother that I got through and I have to go. She got a little angry that you did not reveal. I was not stopping you. You did not inform me. I said, yes, I did not inform because I thought I was going alone and you may prevent me. So I did not inform. So at the end, everyone was happy. And I think that was not a bad decision to be here. One of my professor who was a very well-known, she's a Professor Shipra Guha Mukherjee, and she was very, very well-known in the women circle. A tissue culturist, her work was published in Nature. She herself was an awardee of several Women Biosciences Award. She said, Rakhi, you must go. You may see the IIT is not growing currently, is not much established, but you will see where it will grow. When I came here, she was JNU professor. She said, when I joined the JNU, it was all over the stones. And now you see the JNU popularity. And I'm sure the IIT Bharati, since it is an IIT, it will grow. And the same thing has happened actually. I've spent around 18 years now. In June, I will complete. And I could see IIT Guwahati is purely indigenous without any foreign support. This is the first IIT after 6 older IITs. And it's growing very fast. And I feel very proud that I'm the part of it and my decision is right. So it's all like sometimes. So what I feel that when you plan big things, most of the time it doesn't materialize. But something better comes. Although it comes late, if something coming late, that means something best is coming to you. And the God is preparing you to accept the best. Because most of the time it just gets released. If something comes very casually to you, you won't realize the importance. Everything I get best in my life, but although it is very late, but when it came best, I never regret. I never have a regret. Actually, it's not a failure as such. Yes, definitely a little setback was there. Actually, failure means some rejections were there in my professional circle. That too, I feel that somewhere probably I could not be at my full own. That could be one of the reasons. I reviewed myself, and in fact, my personality has been changed a lot. Because sometimes your own attitude become a big hurdle to achieve the success, and that becomes a failure. I remember my father never visited here because he was a left hand and left leg was not fully working. So he wanted to be here, Northeast. And he used to tell me, don't worry about it, just take me. I want to see where you are staying, how the place is, and then I will come back. But bringing him here, even in the flight, was a little tricky. So he never come. But when I applied for my promotion, assistant professor, I could not get through, while my other colleagues get through. But this time, actually, I informed my father that I'm appearing for promotion and I did not get through. He asked me what happened. I said, I did not get through. He said, surprisingly, I was very surprised. He said, बहुत अच्छा हुआ. I said, इसमें अच्छा क्या हो सकता है? I said, बहुत अच्छा हुआ, और मेहनत करो. And then I worked like anything. I think me and my students, we used to work at 1 o'clock, and to get the work and get the best publication, so that the who have rejected me should regret that their decision is worst. And that was not the end, in fact. I worked because that time, I don't know, there was some trend was there or something. Women have to work little extra even for the papers, something was there. That I sense may not be true, but I sense that like other women colleague. But actually, whatever happens, happens for the good. I appeared again, and that again the second time rejection. My father was alive until then. And because receiving first time rejection is a tough, as if everyone is making a mockery on you, people are there, people laughing, you become double thought comes to my mind. But actually it doesn't happen. The mature person, no one can laugh who has a clarity on the life, because they already go through several phases. And when the third time, when I appear and I got the promotion. And by the time, my father was no more. And I received a success after 1 or 2 failure. Then success is just a momentum. No? Success are several times is not an ultimate. It's a very subjective matter. Because I'm applying for something, if I get through, it's a success. If I not. Today I'm not getting, but tomorrow I'm getting, is a success next day. So it's like that. And when I get through, I was not feeling, it's okay. It's just a process. First time I was hunting for it. And when I stopped hunting, when it came on the way, it's become a process. That I crossed one step, I have to move ahead. But these 2 rejections in life are very important, because they make you very tough and give more clarity in professional as well as in the personal life. And that changed a lot my personality. And that's not because I got a promotion as an associate professor. And additionally, I got this the vice chairperson of the gate jam examination. And the decision was made by the same person whom they have taken a decision on my rejections twice. At the end, they also realized, and that becomes and that administration also I wanted to get through, because even in the education, I feel that a person will be someone will be complete when you do teaching, research as well as the administration. Because administration is very different. In academics or in the experiments, if there is a one failure, we can repeat the experiment, get the result. Administration, people are watching you. It's more of like a personal interactions. And judging the person, taking a call for an individual, it's more of a psychology as well as your own instinct. And then you could be able to take a right decision, and there is no second chance. To my youngest, I think I advise the same to my students as well. See, we are blessed that something is there for us to work upon. There are the people who doesn't have a work as well. So when the work is coming to you, then you are very blessed. You give your 100% to it. Enjoy the work. First, you own the work, enjoy it. Then the things come by heart. Otherwise, see, everyone work, but the results are different. So I always give to to every youngsters. See, if you are giving, you decide if you want to give 5 hours, 3 hours, 2 hours, you just be to this. Should not merge everything in just 2 or 3 hours. Making it strategically, definitely today's world, the strategy is very important other than working very hard. But definitely one should enjoy the work and own the work, then the results comes the way you want. And should not compromise with the quality. Actually, on and off, I hear from my own women colleague, directly, indirectly, they feel very inspired for two reasons. The way I work with the perfection. Definitely, I do not compromise with the quality. It does not mean that I pressurize the another person. I get involved myself. If you want a quality, हम लोग क्या बोला जाता था इलाहाबाद में, if you, I mean, अपने मरे बिना स्वर्ग नहीं मिलता. Until you die, you won't get the heaven. So until you yourself get involved, you won't get the quality work. So people inspire for two reasons: that I am able to take my independent call. I have a clarity of the thoughts. My working style, people inspire, and the way I work very professionally. I do not mix up my emotions with my profession, because then it's not a result. It's not a decision. So even my students who are the girls student, they say that I want to be like you, I want to follow like you. I said, no, I want you to grow beyond me. What you see, I'm very good. My life is very good. Probably you see as superficially. It's little tough, but you must be very, very, you must have a very good clarity. Every woman, that's the message, that should not give up. Should not give up. Just because somewhere you have a family pressure or you have a professional pressure, when you won't give up, people will be afraid of themselves. Oh yeah, she's very, I mean, no one can make her very shaky. And before you take up any work, first you get yourself educated. That gives the confidence and clarity to take a final decision. So I feel that the women, sometimes I feel the women are little shaky because they don't want to upset anyone. But actually, that will never happen. The job you have been given, you have to be very, very clear that you have been given the job, you have to take the decision for this job. Your job is not to please everyone. The one who is very mature and understandable will definitely understand you that you have taken the right decision with full knowledge and full background of the information. Sustainability is actually sustainability is not, it cannot be finished in just word. Sustainability means we are talking about the constant process. As I work on the plant system, I look for the sustainability into it, but that does not mean what is available today is sustaining for long, because we have to be little open for what new things comes on way, and we are open to take it, accept it, and improvise your existing technology or your thoughts to suit best the changing environmental conditions, or through the evolution, we can say. So that makes, I think, feel that is a sustainable. Sustainable is little more flexible. The word should be little more flexible. It defines you that you are flexible to accommodate something new comes up. It does not mean that everything new we have to accept, but definitely well thought of. We should be open for something new. And that makes anything sustainable. Your thoughts, my technology, everything.